Hi.
Hello.
Didn't realize anyone else was here. That's a lie. We knew you were coming.
Welcome to So Into Bourbon.
What?
It is a special night tonight, isn't it?
It really is. It really is. So we love bringing you content. We love doing this, even with common bottles and shelfers or whatever. This is not that. This is a unicorn bottle. This is the Holy Grail. This is stuff you don't normally get the opportunity to drink.
This is Merry Christmas to Glenn and Charlie tonight.
We're so excited.
And to you. I don't know if they can see that in frame. Maybe scoot it down just a little bit, just in case. All right, there we go.
High level of professionalism here.
Absolutely.
So obviously you saw the box, so you know what we're having. It's Old Crow Chessman, and we happen to have a light pawn right here.
Charlie, I would guess that many of our viewers know what this is, but I would guess that there are probably many who have no idea. So why don't you tell them just a little bit about what this is, what the history is, and what's so special about this bottle or bottles?
There is a ton of history in Old Crow as a distillery, as a brand. It's founding even before bourbon was a thing in the 1860s, et cetera, et cetera. We're not going to go into all of that, but what we are going to talk about is this specific bottle and its moment, in time that it has, both as it's at its release in 1969 and now, and how it's still pertinent. So Old Crow Chessman, it's a limited edition. It was sold as a chess set. It is a gimmick. And the reason it exists is because in the 1960s...
Please don't drop that.
I'm not going to drop it, but I want the viewers to be able to see. In the 1960s and leading into the 70s, bourbon was on the decline. There was a ton of bourbon and nobody was drinking it. And the main reason was counterculture. The kids that had grown up and were now 18, they didn't drink bourbon because their dads and their grandpas drank bourbon, and they were going to drink vodka or beer or gin or literally anything else.
Anything other than bourbon, right?
Anything other than bourbon. So what you had is these very old established distilleries with a ton of really old bottles that they couldn't give away. So what National Distillers, which is who owned the Old Crow brand at the time, came up with is this. It's a Chessmen set, and it is available in light and dark, and you could collect all 32 pieces of the chessboard. It also has a tag inside the box for a chessboard carpet that you could mail your money. Here's the hang tag, which is awesome, and we're gonna post some pictures on our social media, but there is the tag and the proof of purchase and all that you could send, and I wanna make sure I get this right, $22.95.
Which is over $100 in today's dollars. I
well
looked that up
over
earlier.
$100. Yes. It's $170-ish for this carpet to align your chessboard. So why did they do this? Why go through all of this trouble? The beauty of the decanter, the labeling, and going through all of that, it's because they were doing anything that they could do to entice people to buy bourbon. And this worked to a certain extent. There were a lot of them made, but it really wasn't enough to save Old Crow or even National Distillers. And there's other things that play into that. But for this moment of time, this bourbon is some of, and many, many other bourbon reviewers and people smarter than us will tell you, it's some of the best bourbon ever made.
Yes, and just so you know, I know Old Crow today is kind of your bottom shelf brand. It's owned by Beam, right?
Jim Beam. Yep, Jim Beam acquired National Distillers in 1987.
Right. So, but back in the day, Old Crow was the shiznit, right?
Cream of the crop.
Yeah.
I mean, Kentucky's finest. Yeah, I mean, it was one of the crown jewels of National Distillers. So National Distillers, you had the Old Taylor Distillery, which is the Castle, which is now Castle and Key. You had Old Grandad, and I believe I'm correct, the original site of the original Old Crow Distillery, the very first one, is now where Woodford Reserve sits. the Woodford Reserve Distillery. So another awesome thing about bourbon is you're always never very far from the original bourbon history when you're on the bourbon trail.
Yeah, that's what's cool about all this is the history, at least to me anyway. I'm
Absolutely.
sure for you as well as being a history major.
It's hard not to be romantic about bourbon because it is history. It's our history. It's uniquely American. You're not going to find this anywhere else. And specifically, you're not going to find it many places outside of Kentucky or Southern Indiana.
So this is, I believe, 10-year?
So
From what I understand, 10 years.
Correct. This has an age statement. This whiskey is 10 years old, which again means that its youngest bourbon in there is 10 years old. This is the thing about back then, though. We didn't have computerized like, okay, how old are these barrels? How old are those barrels? There is a high probability that they were just grabbing whatever was in the rack house and dumping as long as it was over 10 years old. So there's no way to know for sure, but we know it's a minimum of 10 years old.
Yeah, there's no telling what may be in that bottle.
Absolutely.
Some of the mixtures. So.
Absolutely. So it is also, can you read that proof right there?
I cannot, but I know it's 86.
It is 86 proof. It is 86 proof, which
that's a good looking man right
there. It really is. This is a really cool bottle, and we're going to snap a bunch of pics and post on our Instagram and our Facebook of how cool and detailed this bottle is from a history standpoint. This has an Indiana tax sticker right there. The bottle and the box are labeled and stamped Indiana, which is really cool because we're in Indiana. As you can see, the tax strip is still well intact. But now the fun part starts because we're going to try to open this thing. And if you know anything about dusty bourbons, they have very bad corks, often have very bad corks. So there is a high probability that through the magic of editing that we're going to stop talking and then appear with bourbon in our glasses. But for the time being, we're going to get this thing done. So I'm actually going to cut the tack strip instead of torquing this thing to try to get it off. Twerking the cork. So
all right, there's no turning back now.
It's cut, baby. We're doing this. So let's see.
Fingers crossed.
Oh no! It literally came right off.
I am not surprised.
Not surprised at all.
In the least.
So, Glenn, have you had many dusties?
I have, and I've had a lot of fun trying to remove corks and sift corks out of the whiskey and all that.
So we're going to cut,
stuff.
We're going to punch the cork into the bottle. We're going to strain it, put it in a vase or something, and then we'll be back with the bottle and some stuff. So and Glenn's going to take all the pictures of all this. So if you have a cork break, you can see all that. So we will be right back after this word from our sponsors. Do we have sponsors?
No, we don't have any sponsors. Maybe we can find some sponsors.
All right, we'll edit it out. What's Tony?
All right, we'll be back.
What's Tony Melito doing?
Wait a minute.
What? I'm excited. I'm sorry. I don't know how to act.
All right, so we're back. We just got the cork out. We've filtered it as best we can. There's a few little tiny bits of cork in here, but we got, 3 good cups out of the bottle. Yeah. Charlie's going to pour for us.
Oh, Lord, please.
So would you like me to hold the cup? Oh, my God, that's beautiful. It's so dark.
It is so dark. There's no other way to put it. It's very dark.
Looks like a Coke or a Pepsi.
It really does. So.
All right, so what we're gonna do, we're gonna cut away again because we don't wanna leave this sitting out in the air for evaporation.
We're putting it in a bottle or for spillage.
Yes, we are going to decanter it in a different bottle.
A heavier duty bottle.
And then we'll be back. So that's over with. We've got the Chessmen into its new bottle.
It's new forever home.
Charlie his blood pressure has come back down. I know there are probably some people watching thinking, oh, they didn't really open it. They didn't really pour that out. And we did. We're going to post some video and pictures on Instagram at So Into Bourbon and also in our Facebook group, So Into Bourbon. Imagine that. So if you want to check us out in either place, you'll be able to see kind of the behind the scenes goings on.
Absolutely.
Here, so.
We have nothing to hide. This was a real Old Crow Chessman that we really opened, that I really dropped the cork into, that we really had to strain, that we really had to decant.
That I really want to drink. So
it's time.
Let's get to it.
Shall we eyeball the color, Glenn?
Yes, we shall.
Full disclosure, I have tasted Old Crow Chessman before.
I have not.
I am as excited as I am to drink this. I am more excited to watch him drink this because it is an amazing experience. What do you think of that color, Glenn? How would you describe that? Coke?
Yes, Coke, syrup. It's very dark, not what you would...
Look at the legs on that thing.
Yeah.
For 86 proof,
it
just if you swirl it, it puts a ring around your glass and it just slowly...
Yeah, it really coats the glass.
Yeah. Cheers, my friend.
Cheers. I get it. To me, it smells like a soft drink, a Coke or a Pepsi, and I don't really drink Coke or Pepsi anymore. But that's what I pick up immediately on this.
Sweet, sugary, just.
It smells really
there's
good.
there's a lot going on, and you constantly have to remind yourself this is 86 proof. This is not 120 proof. This is not 100 proof. This is 86 proof. I mean, bourbons just don't smell like that anymore.
I'm gonna do the Fred Minnick.
Oh. Do you have to make that noise? All right.
Now, when I open my mouth and smell it, I'm picking up more of the vanilla and chocolate.
Yeah. I got vanilla and some cherries.
Yeah?
Yeah, I got a little,
Yeah.
I think it's just that sweetness.
A little cherry Coke, maybe?
Drinking time. Cheers again.
Cheers.
Cherry Coke.
Wow.
I'll let you go.
It's first impression is it just coats your tongue and it coats your mouth with a really heavy, we always use this word, but viscous feel. It's hanging around.
Yeah.
It's not, it's as you would expect from an 86 proof bourbon. It doesn't have any heat to it. I mean, a little bit of heat, what you want, what you expect.
It is sipping whiskey.
Yes, that is very.
My first taste, I get this, as you said, it's very viscous. It has a mouthfeel, an amazing mouthfeel, hard to describe because it's not thick, it's not thin. It's kind of an interesting, in a good way, mouthfeel. And I got this splash of kind of peppery sweetness, and it kind of just tickles your tongue, almost like drinking a soda. It lingers. It still kind of lingers, and what you're left with is more of that, please.
Yes.
Like that's what my mouth. Like I'm
like Charlie.
I'm salivating.
Yeah.
To drink more, which I'm going to do right now.
And you said it sticks with you. I still can feel it in the back of my throat. It's still lingering in my mouth. I gotta have another taste.
Yeah.
Now I'm picking up the sweet corn.
Yeah. Now that your palate's open a little bit. Yeah, I got a little whiff of that. So Fred Minnick, not too far back, said that he thought this was his favorite bourbon or the best bourbon ever made. And I don't know if that's true. And I don't know if that matters or what, but you can't argue the point with this.
Yeah, I can't really find any holes in it. I got molasses on that last taste.
when people say bourbon isn't what bourbon used to be, oh, I like the old bourbon, I like the older stuff, you really have to have, it's very easy for people who are now into bourbon to scoff at those people who only drink Dusties, because a lot of us don't get the opportunity to do it. You should try to find an occasion or find a bottle or make friends or pay for a sample, because it is something, if you're into bourbon, if you're so into bourbon.
So into bourbon. I'm so into bourbon.
I'm so into bourbon.
I'm so into this bourbon.
You owe it to yourself to have an opportunity, because this bottle, to me, is a perfect bottle of bourbon. And I will tell you what I mean by that. It is delicious. It is exceedingly rare. They are not making any more of them. And it existed in a moment of time where they didn't realize what they had produced. Quite possibly some of the best bourbon to exist and maybe will ever exist. And we have the luxury of getting to taste it.
Yeah, thanks to you, and thanks to
our
anonymous person,
our anonymous benefactor.
Thank you, sir.
Cheers
Appreciate
to you. But yeah, it just is, great color, great story, great history, great, pedigree. I mean, everything about like I said, we're not going to make this the Old Crow Distillery National Distillers Hour, because we could fill an hour with just talking about. Right. But do some Googling and Google Dr. Crow. It is not named after the bird. It is Dr. Crow who founded the distillery, and go through that and kind of see. But unbelievable bottle of bourbon.
One other great thing. One of my favorite bands of all time, Old Crow Medicine Show.
I too love Old Crow Medicine Show. Yeah.
We learn something new about each other every day.
Absolutely.
So here's something that I'm picking up as it just kind of lingers here.
Yeah.
Have you ever had like a Oreo pie?
Yeah.
The
Look at
Oreo.
me, if I ever had an Oreo pie.
The Oreo crust.
Yeah.
That's what it tastes like in my mouth
really?
right now.
I get that sweetness of like molasses or a sorghum, where it's sweet but not too sweet. And it's almost, the flavors are all there.
They're all there. They're all balanced.
And it's gonna sound weird. It's almost like they're quiet. Mm-hmm. You really have to kind of like, it's not like a foolproof bourbon where you put it in your mouth, you're like, whoa, that tastes like. This is like, you really have to kind of quiet down and really taste it, because there's a lot going on in that 86 proof bourbon.
There is, and it's like there are different flavors that are kind of just popping up here and there. They're not battling each other.
It's just,
but they're
there. Yeah.
Like you said, the sweetness up front is not too sweet.
Right. And then that's gone, and you
can get the bitter, kind of the semi-sweet chocolate. Mm-hmm. I'm picking up some fruit now.
Yeah.
Can we just stop this and
no, we can't drink the
rest of the bottle.
As much as I would love to drink this whole bottle, which would be very easy to do, because this is it's unbelievable. We have to share. We have to share it. So.
All right.
But I don't know how we end this special Christmas episode, because we're not drinking it.
Right.
We're not sinking it.
Right.
We're not pouring it.
You sure we're not going to drink it?
Well, we may drink a little bit more. But
someone's going to drink this.
So here's the reason that we did this episode. Number one, we wanted to drink it. And number two, we want, and again, the theme of what we do and what we want you to get out of this is, there's some awesome stuff still out there. And it may not be cheap, and it may be expensive, but make friends. The bourbon community is great, and there are some great people out there. Expand your palate, expand what you try and taste, because there's stuff out there that's not going to be around forever.
And don't discount a bottle because you've never heard of it, or because it doesn't have a big price tag on it, or because You don't see people reviewing it on YouTube. You know, you never know what in 60 years someone may be sitting here doing the same thing is going to.
That's the point.
Yeah.
Is 60 years ago, they were putting bourbon in decanters and Paul Bunyan statues and chess pieces and birds and fish because they couldn't give it away. And it's some of the best bourbon you'll ever have. And so, to Glenn's point, there may be some of that stuff on the shelf right now.
Could be. And there's a bourbon boom going on right now. Everyone's, ramping up their production, and who knows, 10, 15 years from now, it may fall out of favor again, and these companies could be sitting on millions of barrels that they can't get rid of.
Yeah.
And maybe it sits there for 20, 30 years with, what are we going to do with it?
Chessmen, part 2.
Right. I don't think that's going to happen, but
I don't either. But
you never know.
We can dream.
We can wish. We can dream. We'll be dead by then. So we'll have to tell our kids about that.
Yeah, we'll be. So, I think that's our episode.
Merry Christmas.
Hey, Merry Christmas. Be safe. Get some bottles of bourbon. Share with your friends and family. Start your own podcast.
Drink responsibly.
Drink responsibly. Like.
And subscribe.
And follow. And join our Facebook group. We got some really cool stuff coming down the pipeline. Some great content, great bottles. We're excited to share it with you guys. So
absolutely. Merry Christmas.
Cheers.
Cheers.
And
you know what? I think we need to do another episode. I forgot to hit record.
If I drink it all, will they notice?